Get going. All right, thanks. This is the Harbor Management Commission meeting, August 26th. It is 6:01. I'm going to have a roll call. Sorry. Myself, Jeff Mangels, Commissioner Sachs.
Present.
Commissioner Kibbe.
Here.
I think I heard you say here. I know I saw you.
Sit here.
Okay.
You're here?
Commissioner, yep, I can hear you now. Commissioner Kirkjian.
Present.
Commissioner Gifford.
Hey, Jeff.
Yep, and Commissioner McDonald.
Present.
And Commissioner Bloom.
Present.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I am horrible at remembering to do this, but we will do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As you work, thank you. Okay. Got to get all of my stuff in line here. Okay, did the roll call. Public participation. Is there any public participation?
If any members of the public would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature at the bottom of your screen. And while we wait for the public to raise their hands, going over some correspondence. I know I'd forwarded the commission 2 emails earlier today. There were some emails that you received that came directly from the person commenting, sent them to everyone on the commission. One was today, there were a couple last week. And I received an email from Deirdre Kavanaugh, who was at a previous meeting inquiring about street ends and getting them cleaned up. And she had put in a ticket with the city, like a customer service request. So she was reaching out and followed up about that. So I put her in contact with a customer service representative, and that seems to have been addressed. But just so you're aware, I did receive some correspondence about that. All right. We have our first speaker. Please remember to state your name, your address, and the agenda item you'll be speaking about.
Hello, my name is Linnell Jones and my address is 10 Point Road. My comment relates to your July minutes, which state the commission received 1 public comment correspondence. What was not mentioned was this correspondence was from an environmental professional, also a former member of the Harbor Commission, a former member of the Mayor's Water Quality Committee, the founding president of the Norwalk River Watershed Association, and someone who contributed to the 2019 POCD. This public comment, requested to be read and shared with the public, politely asked for an independent environmental impact assessment and a balanced, thorough review before voting on the Manresa Wilds application. It is highly peculiar that correspondence from someone with years of volunteer harbor experience, a letter that would have taken less than 1 minute to read, was not shared with the public or included in the record as requested. This alone brings up questions of bias and predetermination. Today, I shared my July public comment correspondence, which I now understand must be sent to staff to be considered harbor management correspondence. It includes my concerns that, as required by our harbor management plan, this commission is not working with, sharing reports with the Shellfish Commission, or listening to public concerns related to harbor issues. This was the first time in 2 decades of watching Norwalk Harbor Management Commission meetings where I have attended and questioned multiple special permit applications that I have observed the Harbor Commission approve a waterfront special permit application without reviewing any actual plans. If you approve this special permit without actual plans, how, given the fairness principle of law, can you require plans for any application review or special permit review going forward? Was this a biased predetermined decision? The July meeting video clearly shows the bias of the Harbor Commission chair and ex-chair. Minutes state commissioners asked a variety of questions and discussion ensued. However, that is inaccurate and misleading. All three motions were made by the chair and all three were seconded by the ex-chair. Questions and comments from the public were not addressed. The applicant was not asked to answer questions or produce any additional information, like final design plans. Despite multiple requests, an independent environmental impact assessment was not even discussed. Consequently, it is not surprising that I, and others I speak for, believe the motions and votes regarding Manresa Wilds in July were biased and predetermined, not in compliance with the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan, so therefore illegitimate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who's next on the list?
I think I am Deirdre Kavanaugh.
Okay, yep.
I just want to clarify. It sounded like my request was considered completed when you passed it off to a customer service person in Norwalk government. Is that what you said, Arlene?
Amelia, is that what you
I
stated?
mean, Amelia, sorry.
Yes. So I don't have access, and neither does the Harbor Management Commission, to those customer service requests that you put in through the city. So I can't see the status of it, which is why I put you in contact with Michelle Diaz, who's the customer service representative, who can look into it. And then it would be the Public Works Department or Recreation and Parks who would be responsible for maintaining that city property. So they would be able to contact the correct person to do so. And I think where it left off with the last email I saw is you had provided those customer service request numbers.
Yeah, those are the request numbers of my requests, right?
I'm not sure, but so
okay, so
correspondence here with Michelle Diaz, if you do it through the click and request system, that's how they can help you see that work being done.
So but the point is, my first email was to Chris McDonald, and what I'm trying to say is that you have a strategic plan that discusses, and it seems like a great idea, to open up more water access via the streets that end in water on both sides of the harbor. And what I wanted the commission to understand is that the water access at 2nd Street, even though it's been around forever, is, in very bad shape. It's not conducive at all to, I mean, people can certainly launch their kayaks there, but it's in total disrepair. And I'm just thinking, I'm trying to understand why you would be focusing on other ones, which I think is a great idea, when the ones we have are so terrible. I mean, it's a wreck. And there are no racks. There's nothing to make it easy to launch from there, even though people launch from there all the time. So I guess, just telling me to follow up with the click and request whole thing misses the point. The point is, if you're going to have water access, before you start doing new ones, it would be appropriate to make the one we have now actually functioning and attractive. So I do think the commission, it's a matter for the commission, not Michelle Diaz and the Parks and Recreation. Because if it's going to be a blueprint of what you're going to do, it's not good. So, Chris, I would hope to hear something from you.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Not necessarily today, but I mean,
certainly,
it was addressed to you, so I would certainly.
Okay, so that didn't get to me.
Yeah, I can tell.
You can reach. I guess I have a public Norwalk email address.
I don't know it.
Sure, but it's can you see my name? It's it's C. McDonald, and my name is a little unusually spelled, but it should be able to see that MAC. So it's CMACDONNELL and what is it? At norwalkct.gov, is that right? Does that sound right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so Deirdre, it depends on what you're requesting. From the initial request was to clean up. So cleaning up
no, the initial
Second
request
Street.
was saying.
No. So wait a minute. I'm still talking, please.
Okay.
Okay. So if the email was to clean up or concerns about Second Street, we can't do anything yet. We are still focusing on street end improvements and to see how we can do improve access to it. If it was a street end where you wanted, it's in disarray, and I know Second Street. If it is in bad shape, which it is, if the request is to clean up through customer service, that is more towards brush, trash, things like that would be done there. But if it's in regards to developing a street end for public access, that is an ongoing project.
Yeah.
Yeah, except if you read your strategic plan, it states that, we already have street access there, but, as you know, it's terrible.
Well, okay, so I agree with you that the strategic harbor plan wasn't created by us. It was created by Indigo. We gave them, our recommendations, and they developed it further. We will take their recommendations and take it to the next step. And I agree that I think Second Street needs more attention than just saying it's a street end now and people can use it. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, and we haven't done anything yet because we've been waiting on the, what do we call it?
Title searches.
Title searches. Thank you. The title searches that the law department is doing when we're funding. Once we get that back, we don't want to take any action on anything until we know we have clear title on anything. There's no easements or encumbrances. So that's the step we're in now. We do intend to talk about improvements. I have been, with the dock out, I have been launching, paddle boards and dinghies to get out to my boat on the slip on a mooring there. And yes, there's a lot of garbage. An old chest of drawers has appeared at the end there that somebody has donated to, as garbage. So yeah, there's a lot that there's things that the city DPW could do right now to make it better, and then just to make it clean. And then there are improvements we can make through this project that we plan on undertaking. So just so you know what the status of everything is. I'm sorry that message didn't didn't come to me. I do remember you speaking up at the last meeting, and I volunteered. So please reach out to the city email. So that'll be official and everything. So we can carry on the conversation from there.
Okay, because it's true that I'm guessing that you already have clear title at Second Street.
I would hope so. I hope all the numbered streets. So I mean, it's a step we're doing, and I don't anticipate any issues with any of that. So, but it's
okay. So I'll write to you directly.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Just to interject here, Deirdre, it would be best to send that to Amelia. Amelia will send it to Chris. But if you want to copy, if you want to CC Chris as well, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, because the last week when I did that, it obviously didn't get to him. So yeah, I think I need to copy him. So
sure. You can certainly do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Deirdre?
Nope. That's really it.
Okay, great. Who's next? Lauren, it looks like, maybe?
It's me. I wasn't sure how this
Okay.
worked. Oh, hi. My name is Lauren Murray. I live at 1 Yarmouth Road in Norwalk. I'm here tonight to voice my concerns regarding the Harbor Management Commission's July 22nd discussion and recommendations concerning the Manresa Osprey LLC applications, the process by which those recommendations were reached, and the proposed minutes documenting that meeting. Earlier today, in response to my written comments, which are different than these, or I wouldn't be being redundant, Amelia Williams explained that the purpose of the minutes is to document actions taken by the commission, and that the meeting recording actually records the discussion that occurred. I really appreciated a response. I didn't expect one, but I don't believe that the distinction resolves the concerns I raised. I understand that minutes are not transcripts. I've read minutes, I've written minutes, I've served on boards where I've been responsible for voting to approve minutes. Minutes summarize proceedings. They don't need to reproduce every word spoken, but they should provide a fair record of what occurred, particularly when the substance of the deliberation is directly relevant to the understanding of the action ultimately taken. And in this case, we don't have to speculate about what happened. We have the recording. I watched the July 22nd meeting because I wanted to understand the commission's discussion of the Manresa applications and how and why the 3 findings of consistency were reached. What I saw and heard gave me significant concern, and that's why I'm here before you tonight. Manresa Wilds is one of the largest and most complex private land use referrals this commission is likely ever to consider. It involves 125 acres of waterfront, a zoning map amendment, zoning text amendment, and development park special permit. The issues potentially within this commission's purview are significant and far-reaching. Decisions involving shoreline access, water-dependent uses, navigation, harbor safety, environmental impacts, runoff, flooding, water quality, and the long-term relationship between the development and the harbor will impact generations to come. The Harbor Management Commission's recommendation is not meaningless. To the contrary, it has a specific role in the Manresa Osprey LLC application process and becomes part of the record considered by planning and zoning. Under Connecticut's Harbor Management Act and the commission, this commission has a defined role reviewing proposals affecting the harbor and making recommendations consistent with the harbor management plan. An unfavorable recommendation from this commission can affect the voting threshold required for the subsequent approval in planning and zoning. So this was neither inconsequential nor a referral nor an inconsequential vote. The July 22nd agenda identifies Manresa Wilds and specifically lists special permit, tax amendment, and zoning map amendment referrals. The agenda also contained a link to planning and zoning application materials. The issue isn't whether the documents were available, they were. Commissioners had hundreds of pages of application materials and public submissions, yet there was confusion on what the vote meant. The question raised by the meeting itself is whether the commission sufficiently reviewed and understood those materials, the 3 different referrals, and the significance of its recommendations before the vote. The recording raises serious questions about whether that occurred. During the meeting, commissioners repeatedly questioned what they were actually being asked to vote on. At approximately 52 minutes, Commissioner McDonald indicated that he thought the commission was voting on the new zoning district and its use matrix, not separately approving a conceptual plan. Staff then had to clarify that the referral involved 3 components: the special permit, the text amendment, and the zoning map amendment. Those were the 3 matters referred to the Harbor Commission. The conceptual master plan was supporting material within the special permit application, and it wasn't a 2nd or 4th approval. That confusion didn't end there. Later in the evening, commissioners again asked whether they were voting on the plan or the zoning. One commissioner expressed concern about acting without knowing precisely what he's being approved. And then the Commissioner McDonald made an extraordinary statement for someone being asked to participate in a consequential formal recommendation. He said, "I'm going to abstain if we vote on it because I don't even know what we're voting on." He then said, "I don't know what we're actually voting to do." And the chair responded, "That's a very valid point." I agree, it is a very valid point. And it goes directly to the question I'm raising tonight. Did this commission sufficiently understand what it was being asked to decide before making the 3 findings of consistency? There was substantial discussion about a conceptual master plan and its relationship to the special permit referral. Commissioners questioned why the conceptual plan was part of the discussion, what significance it had, and what their recommendations on the special permit actually meant. The applicant also explained during the meeting that the proposal zoning was intentionally broad and designed to establish a framework for development over a long period, with additional applications potentially coming later. That should have underscored the importance of the understanding exactly what was being referred and what a finding of consistency actually meant. There was another, excuse me, there was another warning sign before the votes were taken. 2 members of the public spoke about Manresa that evening. One raised concerns about environmental impacts, runoff, flooding, and the breadth of uses being requested. Another stated that aspects of the application remained undefined and specifically asked this commission to obtain additional information from the applicant before acting. The commission acted that evening anyhow, and the deliberation that followed demonstrates why that request for additional review deserves serious consideration. That brings me back to the proposed minutes. The minutes describe the Melissa Manresa deliberation this way. Commissioners asked a variety of questions and discussion ensued. That's it. That's what it said. Then the minutes presented 3 findings: zoning map amendment, consistent; text amendment, consistent; special permit, consistent, with 1 commissioner opposed and 1 abstaining. Again, I understand that meetings are not transcripts, but I respectfully ask the commissioners who participated in the meeting and who are being asked to approve these minutes to ask yourselves, does that description fairly reflect the proceedings that you participated in? Does it adequately document a deliberation in which commissioners were questioning what they're voting on, the distinction between the referrals, and what their recommendation actually meant? That's for the commission to decide. But importantly, my concern does not depend upon what is ultimately included in the minutes, because Amelia is correct about one thing. The recording documents documented this discussion, and the recording raises the much more consequential issue. If the commissioners were struggling to determine what they were voting on, how could the commission confidently determine that each of those 3 separate referrals was consistent with the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan? And that leads to a second question. What provisions of the Harbor Management Plan formed the basis for each of these 3 findings of consistency? What was the basis for the finding of the zoning map amendment consistent? What was the basis for finding the zoning text amendment consistent? And what was the basis for the development park special permit consistent? These are 3 different referrals where they separately evaluated against the Harbor Management Plan. What evidence supported each finding? The July 22nd deliberation does not make that very clear. I want to emphasize something because I don't want my request to be misunderstood. I'm not asking this commission to reach a particular result, and I'm not standing there declaring that the July 22 votes were legally invalid. I'm asking whether the circumstances documented in your own recording raise sufficient questions about the process, the commissioner's understanding of the referrals, and the basis for the findings of consistency to warrant reconsideration. I believe they do. Frankly, for a referral of this magnitude, the proceeding did not reflect the level of preparation, clarity, and deliberation I would expect from any public body making such a consequential recommendation to planning and zoning. This isn't an attack on the commissioners who asked the questions. They were right to ask them. The problem is the commission proceeded to make its recommendations while some of those fundamental questions apparently remained unresolved. Therefore, I respectfully ask this commission to reconsider and revote on the 3 Manresa recommendations. Before doing so, please take the time to review the relevant materials. Consider the public comments addressing the issues within your jurisdiction. Ask the applicant whatever additional questions are necessary. Clarify what each of the 3 referrals asks this commission to determine. Identify the provisions of the Harbor Management Plan supporting each finding of consistency. Discuss each referral separately, and then vote again. When one commissioner says, I don't even know why we're voting on it, and I don't know what we're actually voting to do, and the chair responds, that's a very valid point. I believe the responsible response to make is to make sure that everyone understands the question before making the recommendation. If after reviewing it and understanding each referral, you come to the exactly same conclusion, so be it. I'm not asking for a predetermined outcome, but on an application of this magnitude, the record should demonstrate that those conclusions were reached knowingly, deliberately, and with a clear understanding of what was being decided. You don't have to rely on my characterization of what happened. the meeting was recorded. I respectfully ask each of you that the portion of the recording, particularly beginning 52-minute mark, is listen to the questions, listen to the uncertainty, and then ask yourself, did we understand these 3 referrals to make an informed finding that each was consistent with the harbor management plan? There's still an opportunity to address that, clarify the referrals, identify the basis, reconsider them, and then vote again. Planning and zoning deserves a well-informed recommendation. The public deserves confidence in the process. And this commission deserves to know what its recommendations, that the recommendations that were made knowingly, deliberately, and on a clearly understood record. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Lauren. Diane is next.
Good evening, Chair Mangles. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. I will not repeat. I was changing my notes because there were some very eloquent speakers before me. I just wanted to say I came in just at, I think, when Linnell Jones was speaking. So I won't reiterate what Linnell and Lauren had said, but I do agree with, and I am concerned about.
Diane, if you could just state your name, address, and agenda item you'll be discussing, please, for the record.
Sure.
We know who you are, but yeah, please.
Okay.
Just for formality.
My name, that's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Diane Lauricella, 60 Gregory Boulevard, and I'm speaking to the minutes and recording of the Manresa Wilds 3 votes, or the 3 votes. I'll just say that as a former commissioner under then Mayor Bill Collins with the first iteration of a harbor commission, we got started and wrote the first harbor plan. We had a lot of pressure at the time because some of the private clubs had creepy crawled into the public area, and the Army Corps was on our backs, of course, saying, listen, we won't dredge. I know you're going to talk about dredging later. We won't be dredging the harbor unless and until this city gets control of the public space and gets the private docks out of the public space. So we also were under pressure. The reason I'm bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the fact that the vote, the 3 referrals or 3 votes you made, and I did listen to most of the recording, they are very important because the Manresa Wilds applications, plural, are very important. A lot of work has gone into them by the applicant, by the staff, by the public, and I'm sure you and this commission looked at the application. However, I'm quite concerned when I hear well-meaning commissioners who are volunteers truly not understanding clearly what they are voting on. That is serious. I also was a little quite concerned that the applicant was there, not coaching you, but clarifying things improperly. And so I then want to make it known and put into the record, of course, that I really would, after seeing how this all laid out in July, that there's be serious consideration about retraining and reforming the process by which this commission votes on referrals from planning and zoning, at least, because of the public trust. I do believe, and I do ask that, and I haven't had the time to check, but really you are the commission, to see whether or not your choices are valid, at least, especially the one about the permit, the special permit, which is zoning regulation, and whether you can take back your approvals or 3 approvals, any of the 3, for further consideration. It is your right, in order to fulfill the public trust. If the staff or the applicant or any of you do not feel you have sufficient amount of information, you can tell the applicant and planning and zoning and any pressure you're getting from the city, we need more time to evaluate this. I do not know why you felt you had to do it in July. As you know, the Planning and Zoning Commission has allowed for additional public input because the applicant keeps putting in new information. You didn't even have the new information they put in before July. They just recently put in more information that had you had it, you may have voted differently. So I am going to be trying to find out through, I guess, the law department, whether or not you can, I don't know the legal term, get a do-over for at least some of the three. But I do feel that to be considered a legitimate body, that you need to rescind your votes and see if you can do it again. I know a lot of you, and I know a lot of you do a lot of hard work on the harbor, and there's some new people that I'm really enthusiastic about on this commission. I just don't understand what happened this time in July. So I ask again that you reconsider the votes, talk to Mr. Kleppen with Amelia, talk to the mayor's office and the Corporation Council to see whether or not this can be done over. If not, I do believe, because of the clear recording about how these votes took place, could absolutely, I believe, if anyone has an appeal, because of course the applicant will proudly say that they have the approval of the Harbor Commission. So it weighs heavily in the Planning and Zoning Commission's work. And if it wasn't done properly, then I do believe that is a sticking point here. So thank you very much for listening to me. I am an environmental professional, and I do know that due diligence is key. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Diane. Diane, just for clarity, you had sent your email after 12 noon on the day of the meeting. So I think there's a limit, there's a deadline. It must be received by 12 of the meeting. That's why your comment was basically read as we received one public comment, just for clarity. Dave, you are next. I want to remind everyone that you have 3 minutes.
Yes. Hello, commissioners. My name is David Lindsay. I live at 10 Outer Road. I want to follow up on the comments from the previous speakers about the handling of the Manresa agenda item on your July 22nd meeting. I spoke at that meeting and I listened to the entire Manresa section. I was shocked at the commission's disarray and confusion during this part of the meeting, as it seemed like many of the commissioners were unfamiliar with the material under review and unsure of what was being voted on. To follow up on the comments of the first speaker tonight, who mentioned the appearance of bias and impropriety on this vote and this commission, I want to comment on what I felt was the highly unprofessional conduct of the chairman at that July 22nd meeting, which was demonstrated by joking with the applicant about adding a roller coaster and a zip line to the Manresa Wilds plans. That may be funny to this board, but it is not funny to Norwalk residents who are going to be drastically impacted by this project. I would also call for a re-examination of this vote with some actual data being reviewed, appropriate studies being sought, and serious consideration being given to this monumental application that will affect Norwalk going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Just for clarity, all commissioners received the information. I believe it was 2 weeks or more prior. So I read everything. The confusion was when someone asked, one of the commissioners asked, what are we voting on? And then I asked for clarity, just so that everyone knew. That's it. That's what it was. Diane, I'll give you one. Your hand is up. I'll give you another shot, but please keep it brief.
Thank you, Chair Mangles. I just wanted to clarify that I did send in the same comments this morning to Amelia and then to all of you. So, and in it asked for, which you could have asked for or helped ask for, a separate independent environmental impact statement because of the nature of your role in our harbor. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Yes, the subject of that email is not on the agenda right now. So that's Manresa Wilds. Okay. Any other public comments?
I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay, very good. Let me get over to my other screen. Okay, acceptance of minutes. So everyone had the minutes from July. I did not see any corrections or anything, but correct me if I'm wrong, Amelia.
I didn't receive any suggested edits.
Okay. So we need a vote to either accept or not accept the minutes of the July meeting.
I'll make that motion, Jeff, to approve.
Commissioner Gifford, we need a second. Does anyone else want to second it?
I'll second.
Alan?
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, now we can take a vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 So I can't really see who's saying yes and no. Sorry. So who are the ayes? Commissioner Bloom,
McDonald,
Dax.
B.
McDonald, Gifford,
Friction.
Dax.
Dax,
B.
Kirkjian, Gibby. Danielle, you were a yay? Commissioner Kirkjian?
Yes.
Yes, you were a yes. Okay. Did I miss anybody? I'm a yes. Abstain? Or a no? Okay, so moved. Thank you very much. Okay, application review. So we have a zoning text amendment referral. Amelia, can you share that, or would that be possible for you to share it, or can somebody share it?
Jeff, would this be a good time to introduce our new commissioner? I didn't know we had one, so.
Oh, yeah, he's been on the commission. He's been on some meetings. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's okay. Mr. Sachs, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, Jordan Sachs here. I was formerly on the Shellfish Commission, so very excited to serve the public on the Harbor Management Commission.
Great. Welcome aboard, Jordan.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thanks. Okay, so this is there was a change, and Amelia, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a change in Connecticut state statute, and this is just to get our wording in line with the Connecticut statute. And it goes into 4 dwelling units or more. There's some change from names of what did they call it before I forgot what it was. It was a name. There it is. Group home to community residences. So they made some changes. The P's are permitted. The NP is non-permitted. Strike-throughs are what's being removed. The black is what is still going to be present. There was one of those was a dwelling I forgot what it was. I think it was a driveway opening or something. So it gives within the whatever zones they are, and then some signage with an unlit backplate that is architecturally consistent with the building. So that's it. I mean, it really doesn't affect Harbor Management Commission. So this is just to get our this document in line with Connecticut statutes. So, and you all have had this and should have read it. So if you have any questions, so do we find this, do we need a motion to find it consistent or not consistent? So there's different terms that you could use, but consistent with the harbor management plan.
I'll make a motion that this is consistent with the harbor management plan.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Alan. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Great, thank you. Yeah, sorry, Chris, I thought that you knew Mr. Sachs,
Well,
Commissioner Sachs.
I might have met him before, but I did not know he was on our commission.
Oh.
When did that happen?
Was it last month or the month before that you were on?
Month prior.
Month prior.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's been this the third meeting for him.
Wasn't it the last one?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, and I missed the one. I missed the one before that. Maybe that's when maybe that's the
there you
introduction
go.
I missed.
Okay. Okay, we have Burwell Street. This is for application review. This is for Burwell Street. Do we have any representation from Burwell Street?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is Tara Bongiorni, owner of 19 Burwell Street. Thank you for your consideration of my application. I'm not familiar with the process, so just please instruct me. Would you like me to describe the project?
You could. Do you have the project, the application in front of you, or
I do.
Do you want to?
I do.
There you go. Do you want to share? You should be able to share. Or Amelia could share if that's what you would like.
Let's see. It might be easier for Amelia to share. It's not really.
Sure. Do you want me to pull up the survey or the sketch?
Whichever one is what the commission would need to review.
I think we can start with the survey, and if anyone has questions, the commission has looked at this too. So if anyone has any questions now for Ms. Bongiorni, that would also work, but I will quickly pull up that survey. And the survey includes the location and the proximity of the harbor, which is why I feel it's more relevant.
Correct.
But we have the Burwell Street down here. The survey is oriented north at the bottom, south at the top. The existing residence is here. It's a little blurry, I do apologize. And then the proposal is for a new patio here at the rear. It is required to get a coastal site plan approval due to its proximity to the coastal resources. So anything within 50 feet of coastal resources does require a coastal site plan review application, which is why it is in front of you all tonight.
So I reviewed this. This all looks fine with setbacks and things. You also have a dock. There's not going to be any work on that. That dock is yours, I'm assuming, because it's within your property.
Correct.
Yeah, and there's not going to be any work on this. Is that a seawall that's over there?
A little bit. I mean, there's. I think that's
roundish stuff.
Yeah, there's some rocks that are there, and then there's just some vegetation that grows.
Okay, and none of that is going to be touched, correct?
No, none of that will be touched, and then the dock will not be touched. It's brand new. It was new when I purchased the property.
Yeah, so we must have approved that before as well.
Mhm.
Okay, and then there's another sketch of the patio.
Mhm.
So if we can see that. Oh. So my question was the vegetation looks like it's south,
Yes.
and so that vegetation is the existing and it's already there, or are you just moving it around?
So there's some existing, and that is actually in the area between, how am I going to describe this? Where I guess on the south side of the property, where the bushes or the hedges are kind of drawn in, just behind that, there's already some vegetation. It's arbor vitae that grow there, and then there's a fence behind it. So those will remain there, and then there will be additional hedges that are kind of planted like right in front of them. And then along the western side of the property, that is all existing. So it's not really drawn to the exact type, but there's a couple of hydrangeas and a couple of small trees that are there. The
Okay.
tree will remain, and there will be some additional plants that are installed as well.
Okay, and I see the best practice silt fence and the rain garden is going to be new, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you have 1-inch sand as bedding and 4-inch gravel as base, and it's bluestone.
Correct.
Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
Did this require a drainage study?
I did not have a drainage study completed.
Yeah. I don't know if it requires it. Sometimes when you increase the permeability, decrease the permeability, by paving something, you have to do a study. You have to do it for driveways. I don't know if this would, or if you increase the roof area.
I thought I read part of the application that showed the square footage of the patio, and it said it was below the threshold for like the permeable surface study.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Are there any other questions?
No question. I
Comments?
reviewed it as well, and it seems fine to me.
Okay. Any other comments?
Jeff, I didn't have any comments. It was pretty straightforward, and I think it's consistent with the harbor management plan. If we want to use standard language, I'd put forward an approval for this.
Best practices and all of that. Okay. So is that a
Correct.
motion?
Yes, a motion for approval with just the letter to include our standard practice about sediment retainment, the basics.
So is the motion that is consistent with the plan? Is that what you're motioning?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Need a second of that?
I'll second that.
That's Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we also have, keep pulling up the wrong. We also have Split Rock Road. Do we have representation for Split Rock Road?
Yes, sir. Jim Jamison here, the project architect.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Do you want to share your drawings or do you want to have Amelia do it?
Let's see. Let me get the share button. And I have it. Select the window.
Just as a reference, all commissioners have received your document.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I have it up on my screen.
There should be a share button. on the bottom of,
Yeah, I hit the share button.
then there might be another window that
Browser, go
says,
to
what do you want to
browser.
share?
You can now share browser applications, workplace. I'm looking for my desktop.
If you want to share your bank account, that would be fine.
Yeah. Files. Let's see.
We can have Amelia do this if you would like.
Okay. Yeah, Amelia, can you help me out here? I'm not getting it to pop up.
No problem. Just let me know which document you want me to pull up.
It would be the construction documents
And the
file.
plan.
Plan set, yes.
I think the survey is in the plan set, but it might just be the initial submission, which you've since revised, but that's not
Right.
going to change.
Might not be in there.
But I'll start with the
So should we start with the survey?
yeah.
Okay. So we are there's 34th Split Rock it's a great neighborhood down there. There is an existing house that we are proposing to demolish. The existing house is well within the coastal setback limits. So we are proposing to construct a new house that meets all the zoning setbacks for the property and also the coastal setback from the water. The zone is a V17 zone. We are proposing to have the lowest structural part of the building at 19, which gives us 2 feet of freeboard. It will be built upon roughly 18-inch square piers. It is a wide open foundation. We will have a small percentage of breakaway walls on the front and right side where there's a garage parking, but the back half will be open area. The slab will be a frangible slab, so in the event of a storm, it's actually designed to break apart according to FEMA requirements. The house has 4 bedrooms and 4.5 baths. There is a deck on the backside with stairs down to grade. And with our conversation with the zoning, the property does have an existing dock and deck area, which we are planning to maintain, which is this area right here. So that in discussion with zoning, we're allowed to keep that section of the pre-existing structure.
Okay, so you're not touching the dock, you're not touching the seawall.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a new septic system going in, and we will have stormwater retention system also to accept all the the coverage, which the pre-existing building had none of that, and also had a minimal septic system. It had literally a 500-gallon septic tank, which was not really adequate.
If it was 5 gallons, it would definitely not be.
Yeah, 5 gallons. Yeah.
You had me nervous there for a second.
Right. No,
I was wondering
I have seen some
houses
houses with a 50-gallon septic tank, but no, 500-gallon. But that's being abandoned, and it's going to be a 1,500-gallon new tank.
Right. And may I ask what the revision was? I saw that this was revised today, 8/26/06.
Yes,
2026.
If you look down at the driveway, our original proposal for the driveway had parking within the front yard setback. So we reconfigured the driveway so we could have 2 parking spaces beyond the setback. Because there's literally no street parking in that neighborhood. So we really needed to have spaces to park. So this is the area where we can have 2 parking spaces beyond the setback line. The coverage within the setback is 41% with a maximum allowable of 50, so we're under that threshold. But that was that was the last revision, so we could comply with the parking requirements.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the commissioners? Any questions? And how are you handling the stormwater? Is it a Cultec or?
Yeah, it'll be a Cultec system.
Okay. And you have a plan to keep that operating correctly, cleaning, etc.? A maintenance plan?
Yes, yeah, that the stormwater retention system and the septic system and the landscape plan is under design right now, so we do not have that present to you for this evening.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the commissioners? I'm a little concerned that there's no design for the water retention.
Mm-hmm.
That we don't see that. So when do you believe that is going to be done?
We should have that in time for your next meeting.
Okay.
Or
So
before
why
the
don't
next
we?
meeting, so you have time to review it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. So I'm going to make a motion that we table this until we get that data, just so that we have the complete plan, if that's okay.
Yeah. One more question for the applicant. Is any work going to be done on the seawalls?
There's no plan to do any work on the seawalls. You know, part of the issue is that the existing house is over top of those seawalls, so
Yeah,
it's
I'm familiar with it.
difficult to understand, figure out exactly the condition of those walls. But once the house is demolished, we'll be able to, bring an engineer in and analyze the situation and see if there's any remediation that would be required.
Yeah, that would require another permit for the
Yes.
seawall work if you had to have that. Okay.
We'll
So I made a
we'll
motion
get
to
Race
table this until
engineers
next month.
involved.
Oh yeah. Yep. Very good work. Okay.
All right.
I made a motion to table it.
Okay,
Does
I
anybody
second
want
the
to second
motion to table.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Thank you for your time, commissioners.
Okay, you take care, Jim.
I'm on a few boards in my town, and it's the time consuming and a lot of times a thankless project.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we're going to see him next month. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the property, so overhanging the seawall, that's a little scary. Okay.
Yeah, I've kayaked by that. I've worried about the condition of the supports for that house. It's right around the corner. I used to live on Split Rock.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you,
right.
Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good evening.
You too. Let's see. The last one is 3 Brown Place. Do we have representation from
Yes.
3 Brown Place? Oh, there you
Yes.
go, Adam.
Good evening.
Hey, Adam. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. How are you guys tonight? So Adam Blank of Wofsy Rosen, counsel for Brian Bailey and Jessica Bailey that own it's about a third of an acre, 3 Brown Place. Let me just share the screen real quick. Okay, so 3 Brown Place is here. That's the Bell Island Bridge. So this is the property that they're looking to replace the existing home. 43 you can ignore, but they'll be living there during the period of construction. So at 3 Brown, it's in the CDS1 zone for zoning purpose. It's all in the CAM boundary. The current house is non-FEMA compliant. It's a single family home. They want to replace it with one that does comply with the zoning regs, including the flood hazard and coastal area management regs. It will also become compliant with Norwalk's drainage manual and public works regulations. Obviously fully FEMA compliant The property is in the FEMA VE17 and the A15 and X coastal flood zones, but none of the construction, none of the residents will be in the VE zone. That's my sort of quick overview. We've got the architect, Daniel Conlon. He'll give you just a minute or two on the project, and then the engineer is Wayne DeVenzo, and he'll also speak briefly about the drainage. And again, I'll tell you now, and they'll probably repeat it, but there's an existing seawall and no work is being done on the existing seawall. So with that, let me stop my share and turn it over to Dan.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Dan Conlon. I'm an architect for the project. I think Adam hit the high points there. We're going to demolish an existing structure which is non-FEMA compliant and build a new structure which will be. So we're going to respect the 2 feet of freeboard to the base flood elevation with our lowest construction. We're building approximately on the footprint of the existing house. Our structure is a little bit larger, but we're putting the house back pretty much where it is right now. If we look at the survey, you can see that the property is actually bisected by a sewer easement, which sort of effectively prevents us from getting awfully close to the water with anything that we propose. So you can see in here, right where it says Lot 1 in the middle, there's a sanitary sewer easement that runs through the property. So there'll be no disturbance of the property at all, other than some minor landscape planting that we're showing here beyond that sewer easement. So the closest thing to the shorefront of anything that we're actually building will be approximately 50 feet. Again, there is a seawall on the property which is existing. There's no work proposed there. There's an existing patio proximate to the seawall. Again, no work proposed. So we'll essentially put a silt fence up right in that sewer easement, and that'll be our buffer between our project and any coastal resources or the water.
All right. Is that it, Dan?
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Maybe Wayne can address the drainage briefly so the commissioners can understand what we're doing there.
Yes, okay. Wayne DeVanzo, Fairfield County Engineering. We are installing a porous asphalt driveway, which will collect the runoff from the driveway directly and a portion of the roof through a distribution pipe, and store it in a stone reservoir beneath the porous asphalt, an 18-inch thick reservoir beneath the asphalt. And this will be the way that we're meeting the stormwater management requirements of the city, and we'll be mitigating the 2 through 100-year storms as is required. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right. I think with that, we just ask and hope that you'll find it consistent with the harbor management plan.
Yeah, I just had one question. Sorry. The BFE, the base flood elevation on your documentation, it was a minimum of 1 foot, it's stated, but to be compliant, it has to be 2 feet or above.
Yeah, and that's actually a typographical error. All of our proposed construction is 2 feet above the base flood elevation.
It's 2 feet. Okay. So because of that error, we're going to have to I'm going to make a motion that we table this. I mean, it's very well done. It's an error. I get it. But if we sign off on it, then it could be greater than 1 foot.
Well, I think if it, with all due respect, if you're willing, I think we prefer not to have to come back, but we would certainly be acceptable with the resolution to find it compatible with the plan of the harbor plan, so long as all construction's BFE +2. And then that gives us no wiggle room to do something different than that. And obviously for planning and zoning, it's going to be BFE +2. That, in fact, I think the plans are BFE +2. There's just a note that says +1.
Correct.
That's correct. And all of the supporting documentation, building sections and so forth, evidence that we are 2 feet above the base flood elevation with our proposal.
Okay. All right, we can put those terms into the approval.
Into our finding,
if it
absolutely.
does get approved.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me, Alan?
Yeah, I know,
Alan.
just as long as the 2 feet is part of our finding or recommendation, that should cover us.
Correct. Mhm.
Yeah, the drawings have the house at 18.25.
Correct.
And the flood, also the same plan is marked as a zone AE elevation 15. So that's your flood elevation in this, right?
Yeah.
Correct. 15. And the measurement is to the bottom of our structure. So we need to be at 17, and a finished floor elevation of 18.25 gets us there.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, then we make who wants to make a motion that it's consistent with the plan with the
motion.
extra. Okay, with the terms that it has to be at least 2.
Correct.
2 feet. Okay. Who wants to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Mr. Sachs. Okay, Commissioner Sachs has seconded it. Chris was there, but he was a little slow.
Right.
All in favor?
Oh.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? There you go.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Thank you very
And I
much.
do have to say that it has to be one of the best proposals I've seen.
Great.
So it was really good. Really well done.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it. Now we do have a guest from Connecticut Port Authority on dredging. So do we have that person here?
Mike O'Connor.
Hello, Mike.
Chairman, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And thanks for spending the time. We try to get through that relatively quickly, but we have to be thorough on that.
No trouble. I think this is a good opportunity for us to get acquainted and aligned on things that need doing in the state. So I did want to introduce myself to everybody. I'm Mike O'Connor. I'm the Executive Director of the Connecticut Port Authority. My background, I'm on my 3rd career. I did 10 years in the Navy submarine service stationed here in Groton, Connecticut. I grew up on the South Shore of Long Island at Massapequa Park. Somebody always asked me what town, so I just put that in there. And then when I left the Navy after being a nuclear trained machinist mate driving submarines around, I went to work in commercial nuclear power. Most of my career was at Millstone Power Station in Waterford, Connecticut. I retired from there at the end of 2024. I was the site vice president, and the Port Authority was looking for a leadership role to be filled. So I was hired by the board of directors to take on this role. So I've been doing this for about 18 months now. I learn something new every day about our coastline. There's a lot of opportunity in this state. The mission of the Port Authority is to grow the maritime economy. And so there's a lot of things that can do that. There's also a lot of things that can stop that. And certainly dredging is one of them. So I've been very involved in what the dredging needs are for the state of Connecticut. There are several interactions I have every week with the Army Corps of Engineers. They have 30 federal navigation projects in the state. 2 of them are in Norwalk. And then there is a Northeast Regional Dredge Team that meets every 6 months. That's comprised of everybody involved in dredging things from everywhere from New York State north to Maine. And there is a lot of activity in this region. There's also a smaller regional dredge team that has members on it from myself, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, the Army Corps of Engineers locally in this region, and New York Department of State, since they have a role in approving dredge projects in the Long Island Sound. They have a pretty far reach too. Their reach extends to our south shore of Connecticut to where the water's drops off to less than 20 feet, which is essentially our railroad bridges. So they have quite a bit of involvement in what happens in our part of the world here. One of the things that just occurred is the the commissioner of the Department of Energy Environmental Protection, Commissioner Dykes, recently left her role. There's an interim commissioner. Commissioner Cimino has been with she's been a deputy commissioner for quite some time. I think she has a solid environmental background, and she is very responsive. So I've engaged with her on a number of things having to do with the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and dredging and environmental regulations. And so I think that's a good thing to be if you're a commissioner, is responsive to the needs of people who have to get through your organization for regulation to be able to do things along the coast. Also, if any of you all had worked with Brian Thompson, who was a supervisor of water division at Department of Environmental Protection, Brian retired in June. He was also the commissioner's designee. The commissioner has a designee on the Port Authority Board of Directors. That's a 21-person board that has designees from several of the state commissioners, in addition to legislative and gubernatorial appointments. Brian's designation will turn over to Graham Stevens when we get that aligned. If anybody knows Graham Stevens, he's been with DEEP for a bit of time. I think one of my involvements with the Army Corps of Engineers is to help out with non-federal sponsorship of very large dredge projects. If you didn't know, the channel in New Haven Harbor is being expanded. The depth is going from 35 feet to 40 feet. They're widening the channel and increasing the size of the Federal Navigation Turnaround Basin. That work starts in October. It's going to go across 2 dredge seasons. It's going to involve the removal of 4 million cubic yards of material from New Haven Harbor, but it will make ship navigation safer and allow us to bring bigger ships in there and not have to wait for tide cycles and do lightering in the harbor and whatnot. So it's a very, very large project, probably 10 or 12 years in the making. I don't want things to take 10 or 12 years. I think, we do a lot of studying and then we dredge anyway. So I think we can speed that up. I think I have some support from the Army Corps for speeding things up. So with that responsibility comes a bill. If you're a non-federal sponsor, you get to pay for improvement projects on some pro rata share. Connecticut's paying $18 million for their share of the $76 million Corps project. So while I'm glad the Corps has got it all planned out and ready to go and contracted out, the State Bond Commission is where the money came from for the non-federal share. Similarly, Bridgeport and Blackrock channels need to be dredged. We're talking about channels that haven't had a lot of attention in 20 or 30 years. The problem with Bridgeport and Blackrock channel is the material is not suitable for open water disposal. And so we have to find a placement site for those. The Army Corps is on a CAD cell mission. A confined aquatic discharge cell is a big hole in the bottom of the harbor. They take the clean material out, use it for beneficial use somewhere suitable. Could be beach nourishment, or depends on the material they pulled out. But then they put the unsuitable material into that hole, and then they fill it back up. They cap it off with clean material, and then probably put a little sign there that says "Don't dig here anymore." But they track where all those are. They're used in many places in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Maine to manage this. In other parts of the country, they do confinement facilities along the coast to build out port infrastructure, create land masses, and put contaminated material into a confined pit so that it's not impacting the water quality or the aquatic life in parts of the rivers and streams that go into some of our bigger lakes. And so there's other examples of where that can be done. But right now we're looking at CAD cells for Bridgeport and Blackrock. Several years ago, the state provided some grant money to the Army Corps through the Port Authority, $3 million to do what they term planning assistance for states. and their mission was to determine where we can put dredge material, where we can put unsuitable material, and where we could use dredge material for beneficial use in the state. So they started that project out by studying what would the needs be over the next 15 to 20 years, and then where they're now determining possible sites for that. And of course, they decided that maybe we could put some CAD cells in for unsuitable materials, so they're scoping some places out for that. But for beneficial use, they're looking at beach nourishment in several locations. They're also looking at restoring Faulkner Island. Faulkner Island is south of Guilford, about 3 miles away from the harbor. It is being eroded on the west side, and we're going to try to mirror a project that was done in Chesapeake Bay, which was very successful in restoring an island and having a place, quite honestly, for a lot of dredge material that they need to routinely move to keep Chesapeake Bay open to ship traffic. So I'm just going to take a small pause there and ask if anybody had any questions for me about any of that.
They're rebuilding the island is pretty interesting. One of our islands after Sandy, I believe it was, really took a beating. That was Grassy Island. We lost a lot of material over there.
So Sandy was 2011?
If you say so, yeah, okay.
Let's call it that time frame.
In November 2012.
2012, yeah. One of the things, that storm moved a lot of material from a lot of places. New Jersey was heavily impacted, as was certain areas in New York. There's several islands in Connecticut. Thatchbed Island in Essex needs some help, and I'm sure part of the erosion at Faulkner Island was from the storm. And you mentioned another one which I hadn't heard before, but I'll just put it on the list. As long as I'm able to help out with things in the state of Connecticut, when a major storm happens and we see everything shift around, we need to take near-term corrective action and put the material back in real time rather than be 14 years away and say that, hey, I wish we'd have done something already, or something still needs to be done. So I think I have an ability to bring the right people together to talk about those things should we suffer an event like that again in the future. Any other questions?
Is the Western Long Island Sound disposal site in good? We've heard rumors that that might be shut down, which would be very bad for would make any dredging at this end of the sound much more expensive. So
I have never heard that. I did spend the day out when they were doing the maintenance dredging in New Haven Harbor, and all that material was going to Central. The Corps and the vendors that do dredging have very good checks and balances on what material came out of where, and when they do the deposition in the Central or the Western disposal sites, it's monitored, tracked by the Corps, and followed up with surveys after the material is placed there. So I have not heard that it's even close to being closed. And you may all know that they did establish an Eastern disposal site, but New York doesn't like us to use it.
Yeah, I think New York was putting pressure on the Western Long Island Sound one as well.
Yes.
And and maybe that was just the vendors trying to justify more expense. I don't know. We've done some, and I've worked with local marinas here that have done dredging on their own expense, and that came up when we were soliciting.
Well, I have an upcoming meeting with the Department of State in New York, so I'll not suggest they get concerned about Western, but I'll get them to tell me what their concerns are in general. The effort to use beneficial use has nothing to do with any capacity issues or any perceived closures of disposal sites. It's strictly on the Corps' policy that they maximize the use of material that could help us out on the shore side to the maximum extent practical, and that would be very good.
I have a question. Is the Port Authority taking the lead on dredging projects in Connecticut now? Is that, should we
I would
assume
say,
that?
I would say that that's my goal, is to do that. But the answer today is no, we do not have the lead on dredging projects. In fact, the Corps would do better if we funneled everything through one point of contact and they only had to answer one telephone from one person. As it is, I frequently bump into towns who say, well, we've been trying to get a hold of the Corps, or we've been trying to do this. And right now, I'm going through an effort with them to grade every navigation project in the state. I would say only 30% of them are acceptable right now. Another 30% are planned, and the other 30% needs attention. Don't do the math on that because it doesn't add up to 100. But
It's great to hear, because I've had to do some private dredging projects in Norwalk Harbor, and it's been really difficult working between the Corps and DEEP and all to just particularly for a civilian to make all the
Corps works on a different fiscal year. They get money allocated to a project. The minute the project doesn't go the way they thought it could, then they can't spend any more money, and it has to wait till another fiscal year. Or if the material gets tested and is found to be unsuitable, they kind of have to start over and get more money, because that's a costly endeavor. And so I have some discussion points I'll share with you at the end on what we could do differently. And as always, I'd love feedback on that.
Great.
For any other questions? For Norwalk itself, I know that for the harbor, the 12-foot channel near Round Beach Beacon has got some low spots in it, needs attention. The 10-foot anchorage needs attention, as does the 6-foot anchorage. I think the 6-foot anchorage and the 6-foot channel is where I would start if we were going to go do something. And I'm looking at survey data as recently as March of this year, so that's fairly current data. The Wilson Harbor area is certainly fouled. For a 15-foot channel to be at depths of 4 to 6 feet is not really acceptable. The Corps has a 5-year schedule on what they think they're doing in the state, and it doesn't mention Norwalk at all. But they're aware of about 7 or 8 projects that need attention in the state, and none of them are listed. So that's why I'm trying to work with them very closely and get those prioritized. Plus, I think we can do more than one channel in a year. So especially since they contract most of the stuff out, we need to get through the sampling and the disposal part of the equation, and then move quickly to getting into dredging. I always ask them, when are you going to dredge? And sometimes that's the hardest answer that they can give me, is they really don't have a pinpoint as to when they're going to actually go dredge. And I think with our dredge windows being from October 1st to late January, you could get that extended on occasion, depending on the location and the type of work you're doing. But you have a short window to act and a limited number of people that can do it. If you delay in the review of a product and push a window, you have to wait an entire year to go dredge. And so we can't be letting opportunities slip by us in 1-year increments like that. So I think we'll be able to do something different. Any other is there? I'm sure there's a desire to dredge Norwalk. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think so.
So
we've been kicking this can around for a number of years now, that we have to get started, and we haven't been able to. And that there's just nothing going on.
Tell you that it does start at least at the Corps level with submitting an updated harbor information form, and I don't know if you have done that or not.
Is that a assessment of the dredging needs in the harbor?
Yes.
That was done I believe it was 2 years ago. I don't know where it is, but we just about everybody that has anything in the water was queried about what their dredge needs were in Norwalk Harbor. I don't know where that went.
I consider Norwalk a priority for the state to be on the Army Corps' radar screen, but I don't think it would hurt to resubmit an updated harbor information form, so they have the latest desires on record.
Who would have it so we could update it rather than start from scratch? I mean,
I don't know who had the last one. But the Corps might. I could see if I can get it out of there, but
Well, I personally don't know where that ended up, and I know the city and the marinas put a tremendous amount of work in, and then the Harbor Commission came along and we kind of filled in some of the blanks that just didn't get on the list.
I can ask the Corps if they have the last one that they've received and see where we can go from there. But yeah, it would be helpful if we knew who actually did the submittal. So if you come across that information, please share it with me.
I'll work on that.
Alan, would that be possibly planning and zoning having that on our side?
It could be that, or it could be one of the past commissioners. Although it didn't originate with the Harbor Commission. It was something that we received and we acted on,
right.
and we added more information too.
It could be that the Corps has it at its fingertips.
Yeah.
I'll certainly check.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, the need for dredging in Connecticut is great. We are behind. We do need to be able to get in and out, and we have to do so safely. To jeopardize ship safety, you know, that causes loss of life and environmental trouble, neither of which any of us would want to investigate why that happened when the answer is, well, they were trying to get in at high tide when they knew that the channel wasn't as clean as it could be, and it didn't work out the way that they thought because of the wind or the weather or whatever the excuse will be. And I don't want us to put mariners in those positions, so we'll do what we can. Globally, I think that the state needs to have a larger role in dredging. And I've offered to the state that the Port Authority would coordinate dredging activities. And when I say coordinate, I think it would be more cost effective and efficient if we dredged harbor by harbor and not let everybody, every business, every municipality, every federal project fend for themselves. So when we go into a harbor, we go in and we clean up everybody and we get out. And then I got a bunch of people telling me, oh, but if you pull more than 20,000 cubic yards, then the person has to do this. But then we pull 20 from this yard and 20 from that yard and 20 from that yard over there, and it doesn't matter. So we got to get everybody together on what are the real permitting requirements and the management of the dredge material. Can we do that efficiently with somebody taking care of the federal project, the municipal project, and the marinas in the area? A lot of times, one of our big dredgers going by to take care of a city navigation project can grab one scoop out of a marina and make all the difference in the world. And what did that cost? Not too much, but if you let the marina owner fend for themselves, it just drives up their cost to do business in Connecticut. So I'm working on a plan to share with the legislature in January on how Connecticut can fund more dredging. They always question whether we should be dredging private entities or not. And what I have shared with them is if we're doing dredge work for cities while we're doing federal navigation work, then cities don't have to pay for it, and we can refer to that as municipal property tax relief.
Yeah.
And if we're helping out marinas, we can refer to that as economic development. And I know there's a lot of marinas out there that are not dredging because the material is unsuitable or it's costly to dredge. And what they're doing is they're losing the ability to have larger and larger boats in their harbors all the time. And big boat owners have to go somewhere else, or they have to pay more money somewhere else to have their boats somewhere. And the smaller marinas aren't able to attract that business anymore. And then you might have to go farther to dock your boat, or you might have to get a mooring, and that's not good. Also, low water levels cause a loss of moorings because you have to start spreading them out farther, and that doesn't help anybody out. So if I could help with the dredging and get some alignment with the state, I think we could do a lot in a short period of time. Specifically, I've told the Army Corps that every channel in the state needs to be cleared in 5 years. They rolled their eyes, but they didn't say no. And if I can get it done in 6 years, well, okay. Lot of this, what's that?
No, just saying another thought is you mentioned before, but it's finding alternate uses for the dredge material elsewhere or even nearby. You know, not very good at that.
And by the way, I'll take any feedback on places in your neck of the woods that want dredge material. And, we'll factor that into plans in and around the Norwalk area.
Well, we
That
have
has
this
to
man
be, that has to be clean dredge material, right?
we
Nothing
have
hot.
a huge project. It's going to involve some dredging in this Manresa Wilds program that's going on. So we should really kind of compare notes on that to see if there's anything that
Some of my
brings you
staff have
somewhere
already
else.
been over to visit Manresa. One of the things we're encouraging Manresa to do is any work they do on the island, any material they bring in, any material they take out should be done by ship and not by trucks through neighborhoods. So we're trying to encourage more freight by waterways in the state as part of my role here at the Port Authority. I was going to say that Norwalk's been the recipient of quite a bit of small harbor improvement project money. I'm familiar with the projects that have been done in Norwalk. I was at the start of the project for the marina dock change out. I don't know how far along you are, but looking for that to be finished at some point. And then there was some work done on the other side of Veterans Park on the west side too. But the small harbor improvement program kind of runs out legislatively this year. I've got limited funds left to be able to make grant awards. We're opening up another grant round on September 1st for 30 days. You'll be able to apply. But I'm also working with the legislature to get more money into that program because municipalities do great work when they're able to take advantage of something like that. Their initial vision was to spend $5 million a year in this area. That was their vision in 2016, but I think cities can make use of more money than that if it was available. So I'm going to encourage them to fund that at a higher level over a longer period of time. So portion of that money for small harbor improvements, probably about 20%, was going for municipalities to do dredge work. And if I'm handling dredge work in another program, then that frees up more money to do infrastructure improvements for safety and resiliency in our communities. The last thing I'm working with the legislature on as we go into the next session in January is to mirror the community investment fund that Connecticut's been using for about 5 years now. That was an $875 commitment, but very little of that money went towards the maritime economy. And so we're going to try to establish a maritime capital investment fund. And that will make it so that we can help businesses get started. We can expand, help businesses expand, and we can help with workforce development. And to be able to grant money to business communities to get that stuff done will be a big help for the opportunities I talked about earlier. Any questions on the plan?
Yeah, as you think about like all of the projects that you were mentioning and the priority of them, does something like the fact that we had a barge stuck in the Norwalk River for like over a week earlier this year factor into like priority, or is it based on like timing of application or?
Well, I would say that if I knew about things like that, then yeah, we could use that as evidence that something needs to be done. That's the type of information that needs to get into the harbor information plan that goes to the Corps to tell them, hey, we got something stuck in a federal navigation project. And I had a nice discussion with the Corps who told me we don't have to dredge it because you don't have any ship traffic there. But then I have to tell them I don't have any ship traffic there because there's not deep enough water to move any ships through there.
That was all the way upriver.
And so if it's a federal navigation project and it's got an authorized channel depth, then we should keep it at the authorized channel depth. And I think if we're routinely on top of this, the expense of dredging in Connecticut is really minuscule when compared to the amount of money we spend on blacktop every year.
Yeah, very true.
So my initial thought is I could do very well in Connecticut with $20 million to get dredging done in a season against the money we spend to buy asphalt, which is $200 million. Now that's just to buy the asphalt. That doesn't count taking the old asphalt up and paying the truck drivers and moving the material and get the guy out there with the roller and the umbrella. Unless they're doing night paving, then you don't need the umbrella. So,
well, the harbor master and I can give you some photographs of a stuck barge at Norwalk Harbor.
Send them my way.
I'll send them your way.
Thanks.
I sure can.
Is
Yeah.
that portion all the way up by Wall Street like a federal, still considered a federal navigation channel?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not quite all the way to Wall Street, but there's a
Right,
limit.
right.
Just south of the docks at the boat club there, I believe, is the edge of the
That
federal,
is a
federal
federal
anchorage.
channel.
Federal
It is a
anchorage.
federal channel.
The
Yeah.
top end of the federal navigation channel is by Milford Pond, East Norwalk Boat Club, Boat and Yacht Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
By
No,
Mill Pond?
Hold on.
That's the
Mill Pond.
That's
Mill
Mill
Pond.
Pond.
That's on
That's
the
North Anchorage.
that's
The
the
other-
northern anchorage.
The Norwalk Boat Club
Yes.
is the tippy top of
Yes.
the federal navigation channel.
Yeah.
So
That's the beginning of the harbor.
Correct. That's just north of the maritime side.
Yes, the Norwalk Boat Club. Mhm.
Just before the Norwalk Boat Club, just before Wall Street,
That
just
is the
south
top.
of.
That's the head. Mhm.
And then since I have an audience, the state legislature created a working group last session to help us improve the use of freight rail and our ports and sea lanes for the movement of freight in and around the state of Connecticut. And I chair that committee, and we're taking public feedback over the next 2 months. And our job is to advise the legislature on policy changes that could be made and incentives that could be provided to encourage shifting things off the highways onto train tracks and ships. And I always talk to people about the prospect of doing shipping in Connecticut. We don't need 3 deep water ports, and that's all we've got. And we have to bring big ships in here to move large cargo. We need to think more nimble, smaller ships, many places to do business. If there's areas in Norwalk that can receive freight and deliver it locally, you get a barge with 6 containers on it, and you don't have six trucks showing up in the neighborhood. I'm weighing that against 20,000 trucks a day coming out of New York, all aimed at New Haven, and we could do better. We could do better environmentally. We can do better with cost-wise. And we can just make sure that the right freight's going by the right method to the right place. And where there's congestion, we can relieve that. And every truck I can get off the highway helps a truck that can't get off the highway. And so that's our goal for the working group. We sent out an email. I don't know if anybody got the email. Anybody see an email on the working group?
No.
I'll put it in your hands, Commissioner, and you can distribute it to your friends, and if you want to participate or provide feedback directly to us, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you could send it to Amelia, that would be great.
Yeah, we have a chap here who's been, I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's developing electric power vessels that one day he could dream that they'd be autonomous, but looking for doing intermodal shipping across the sound. And
Yeah, I also have a number of people wanting to build ships in Connecticut. So if you have locations that might want to be suitable for that, send me some feedback. But there are people who want to build smaller craft, make them electric driven. And there is an autonomous bunch running around. So pretty exciting stuff. It's very good technology.
exciting to hear there's more going on and what I know, so it's good.
So, I was happy to share all that with you tonight. You might have 5 million questions as soon as we hang up. I'm welcome to come back again, or we can, certainly, I'm sure I'll be down in Norwalk at some point. We can get together. But the Port Authority is here to make sure everybody can do what they need. And anytime there's a stall or a communication problem, either with DEEP or with the Corps, so far I've been very successful at picking up the phone and getting people to work with you. If you have not been contacted, I can help make that happen. It really is a good team to work with, and everybody does want to help out. But, a lot of these agencies, they just are so busy. They don't have clear direction. They don't have clear prioritization. And I think I can help us all out with that. And honestly, if I told you Norwalk's not the top priority of the state, but it's number 3, at least you'd know where you stood and when something would happen, and you can plan around that. And that's where I want to get us to. So
Michael, Bruce Laval, the harbor master. It's very encouraging news. I get calls every day. I got to turn away people because they want to come in for a destination. Norwalk's a great harbor, great town, and I got to turn them away because I can't accommodate a 6-foot draft.
Don't turn them away. Tell them to call me and tell me what they want to get done, and we'll help them get in there.
It's very encouraging news. Thank you.
We've also had I don't know if you've talked to the people up at Deep for harbor masters lately. I've heard they're not that available, but potentially I think we have a harbor master meeting coming up in early September. I don't know if you were invited to that.
I haven't seen an email yet, but that would be great.
Yep, because we think harbor masters should be able to work together and not have to figure it out on their own. And whatever we can do to help with that, we will. We constantly talk to people about abandoned vessels, and we think the state could do better managing abandoned vessels. It's complicated. You don't know who to call. If you call, you might get stuck with the bill.
Exactly. It's happened to us.
It's happened.
Times it's happened to us.
But I'm here to prevent that next environmental disaster from lack of action, and it's a safety issue for the boats that are traveling on our waterways. So that's what we're trying to do to help with that.
That's great news. Thank you.
Fantastic.
We created a new website, ctportauthority.com. It's very functional. That's where you go to apply for the SHIP grant. We also started 2 new grant programs. One's a community grant aimed at tourism and maritime heritage and those types of things that where we felt we could help out. The other one's strictly for educational needs. If K through 12 programs in our state can benefit for developing our next generation of mariners, we're there to help them out with up to $5,000 grants. And if a school has a $5,000 grant, they can do a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Awesome.
With the SHIPS grant, do we have to match?
This year, and it's the same arrangement we had at the beginning of this year. It's $400,000 maximum, 50% match. So 50-50. Norwalk might be kind of the reason we set it up that way. You all have gotten a lot done in your town with grants in a period of time where you asked for a lot of money. I think there were probably 80% grants, and you were doing big projects and doing great things, and there were not a lot of takers for the money, so you were able to get those approved. We've increased the communication with coastal communities. A lot of people are looking to do stuff. And this year we were interested in getting a lot of smaller stuff done very quickly. And so we set the limit at $400,000 because we have a limited amount of funds, and we put the match at 50-50. So that got a good response. We had some money left over, so we're going to try to make that available in this round. I do have some more money available that I should have in January. And like I said, we're going to expand that program with the legislature next year. If I were to award somebody $4 million and the state gave me $5 million to help all the communities out, I think you can all agree that every other town would have to get almost nothing because one town got $4 million. And that's not really what we wanted to do to make sure people could upgrade their facilities and make them safer and increase our ability to access the water.
So Mike, the other initiative we've been working on here for 5 or 6 years is, and we've gotten a grant under the SHIP grant program from you guys back in 2002, was developing the street ends to harbor access points.
Yes.
And we got a $35,000 or $40,000 grant.
$44,000.
$44,000. Thank you. I'm glad you're aware of it. And so that got rolled into the strategic harbor plan that the city's economic development office did. That study has been done. We've gotten some recommendations off of them about what to do with it. They kind of confirmed the approach we were taking. We're funding through our legal department some title searches on the street ends to make sure there's no encumbrances on them. So we're ready to start moving into the next phase. Now the next phase is going to be putting together an RFP for actual plans and specifications to do some of this work. hire somebody to do this, and obviously the funding for it. So I wanted to let you know that's where we're at with all that. We'll probably come knocking again if you guys are taking applications for that kind of improvements. It sounds like you're supportive of that. So
Yeah, so I think I don't know if you were involved in the last application, but we've got the application process totally online, very streamlined. We have the window open for 30 days so that people could apply, and then within 2 or 3 weeks we'll be able to tell you whether you were accepted. So we don't want you to put in for a grant that you're going to do in 2 years, because there's other opportunities to apply. We want you to apply for something that's ready to go and we can help out with, and then you can make use of those funds. I'd hate to fund something and then somebody else didn't get money and we find out, well, you weren't ready, and
yeah, we're probably not ready to go this September. I think we have to come up with an RFP and type of thing, and let you know what because it would be the consulting engineer to develop the plans, and then obviously we'd have to come back for construction money again. So I think that's where we're at. It would be a design. It would be a grant for the design work.
Okay.
Is the point we're at now.
Okay.
So we'll be in touch about that. Thank you.
Well, we'll make sure we're stay tied in with everybody, and like I said, we constantly announce things on social media, LinkedIn and Facebook. I know some of you already know how to use LinkedIn, Jordan. And then our webpage, we put news out on there all the time. And if there's something worth viewing in person, we always go out and check things out locally. I've been on dredging. The marine pilots report up through the Port Authority and the Port Pilot Commission, and I sign off on their licenses every year. I've been out with a pilot on a ship leaving the Thames River going off to Denmark, and took that trip with the Corps out to see Faulkner Island personally to see what we thought we were doing. These projects are great to see up front, what you're dealing with that you want to replace. We love seeing them. We were just up in Norwich doing a check presentation today for some of their harbor rearrangements. And when we advertise things, it lets other communities know what they can think about doing in their communities. So appreciate working together, and feel free to email me with anything, anytime.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Michael. Does Amelia have all of your contact information, or?
Oh yeah, and really, if I'm not getting it done, I want you to go complain to one of our board members that was recently appointed, Harry.
Rilling.
I forget his last name.
Rilling.
Rilling. Yeah, I didn't forget.
We may know that guy.
Yeah. So I met Harry at one of the ribbon cuttings we were doing, and then he was getting out of the mayor business, and he's on our board, and this strong ties with community leaders is what gets things done, and so he's a resource to y'all too.
Yes, he is.
He's on like his 5th career.
Yeah,
or 6th.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Michael?
Yeah, Michael, Matt Gifford, I just had a quick question for you. First of all, I can't tell you how much I appreciate just a breath of fresh air with a number of the statements you've made, the initiatives you've gone through, the background. There's 5 or 6 of them that I'll circle back with you on, but I just wanted to ask a quick question on the dredging front. You'd mentioned something about a planning session, and ideally, one of my goals would be to involve port authorities so that to streamline this process, because doing it through, yacht clubs and marinas, it is tedious and difficult and arduous and fill in the adjectives.
Yes.
And when you mention something along the lines of, grabbing a scoop here on your way since you're passing it, I mean, some of the efficiencies you're talking about are just beyond epic. But from a City of Norwalk perspective, and strictly that alone from a 10,000 foot view, is there something that we can help you with, or you can bring us in on, the planning stages to potentially, go forward in that manner on a, a 2, 5, 10, 15-year plan so that these things are on the queue, on the schedule, are not being done in, retrospect. So that's something that I'd really be very interested in and would love to help you with, because it really co-manages the city needs with the state needs. And I think that's one of the biggest misses right now.
Yeah, I think it took a couple of days when I got into this position to figure out, where is our time best spent, what is hurting us the most, and dredging came up right away. And the Department of Environmental Protection will tell you that they don't deny permits, but sometimes when they outline what it takes to get a permit, people change their minds. We don't want people to change their minds. We want to work them through the process. I get a lot of complaints about regulation, but like I've told Environmental Protection, I would bring them the complaints if the people complaining could tell me, hey, I put a permit in, I waited 6 months, I didn't hear anything, the process is bogged down, they told me I had to do stuff that wasn't in the regulation, I'm not getting anywhere with this, nobody's helping me. But every time somebody complains to me about DEEP and I engage DEEP, I find out that the problem was on the submitter's end. And they're concerned because I put an application in, I haven't heard anything. When did you put it in? Last night at midnight. Okay, come on. Where there's a real jam up and we've been engaging with people, the jam up's been cleaned up pretty quickly. And it's nobody's ignoring anything. It's just like I said earlier, there's a lack of prioritization. And I think once we just streamline that out and tell people when we're going to go do stuff and work to that date, I think we can accomplish a lot. And the message I've sent, all of us are responsible to protect the environment, but we don't do that by telling everybody that they can't touch the water. And I would tell you that our businesses, everybody that wants to do business on the coast, isn't trying to destroy anything. They would like to know how to proceed safely and coexist with our environment and make things better for everybody. And they're not always getting that feedback. And I think that we could do better on that. With that, I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. Thank you very much for having me.
Sure. Thank you, Michael. If you want to see Grassy firsthand, let me know.
I will.
Yeah, we're going out there in October.
The Boy Scouts are going to clean up Grassy Island, so bring your shovel.
When?
Enrique. It's going to be October 24th. Rain date the 25th.
Send me the information, and you might have. I have a small staff here, but we go out together and volunteer on stuff, and we were looking for some beach cleanups.
Wow. Well, it's a whole island cleanup. You'll see what we're talking about, and then you can see the erosion that took place.
Great.
And if you come by submarine, you get bonus points. But
yeah. Thanks for your service too, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was very informative. Who set that up? That's what I want to know. Was it Danielle? Kelly? Who set
I
it up?
indirectly requested it, but I think Amelia made it happen.
Amelia, did you make that happen?
I reached out to the Port Authority, but again, I wouldn't have done that if Danielle hadn't asked.
Go. That's teamwork. Holy smokes.
Job.
It was
Job.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Thanks for that. Thanks for that work.
I think that's going to be a huge asset for us, because partnering with someone like that takes away so many of the headaches that we dealt with 2, 7, et cetera, years ago.
Yeah. And he wants to streamline things. It's absolutely fantastic. Wow.
Well, we do have to recognize that there's a difference between someone having bold ideas and like a vision of what could be, and actually having it implemented and working.
Well, I wanted him to come in with a dredge tomorrow, but
I know.
He's just with fish as well.
Docks on the mud.
He's got access to the bond money too. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on. Chairperson's report. I don't have much. Grassy Island, as I just stated, is happening. Grassy Island, Charlie Wetmore and myself picked him up over at his chateau over Woods Island, I think it is. And he we went out to Grassy to scope it out, see what we need to do. He is kind enough to be able to get the garbage off once we have it in one place. So that's going to take place. I did contact with the scout who is doing that work. The time is 8 o'clock in the morning out of Etz Park, and it's going to be October 24th, rain date the 25th. If that weekend is a washout, then it's the 31st and or the 1st. So hopefully, if I'm really nice to the Marine unit, they'll be able to assist again. And we may even have the new Harbor Master boat by then. Speaking of Harbor Master boat, I did work with the city to allocate the funds and get that PO or that change order done for the light bar and the siren. Shellfish Commission was kind enough to split that cost. It was around $4,600. I don't have the exact figure, but it's a 50-50 split. So that's in the works. So that's all I have. Next up is Shellfish Commission. Speaking of Shellfish, do we have anybody from Shellfish? I did speak with Steve today or yesterday, and reminded him that there was a meeting and that we were going to have a dredge person from Port Authority to talk about dredging, I should say, and that we want to absolutely work with Shellfish Commission. So I wanted their input as well, but we will, Amelia, if you could share that information with Shellfish Commission as well, that'd be great.
Will do.
Okay. Harbor Master Lavallo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very small report. Due to the recent last couple rainstorms, we had a couple boats break off their moorings. That's all been fixed and corrected. I went out and I did a spot check on Shea Island, and I like to report that it's still in very nice condition. Other than that, I'm working with Norm Edwards. We talked about after the fingers are in for the new docks in the East Channel that the moorings in that area are going to have to be realigned. So that's going to be part of the business. Would probably be later this fall. Hopefully we can at least start lining things up. Mm-hmm. Other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah. So contact Michael O'Connor and get him to bring a dredge into there as well. Gets a little thin, that water.
Yeah.
All right. Deputy Harbor Master Lee, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything, Commissioner Mangles.
Okay. I do have one thing, but I will add that in a second. Sergeant Pasigli.
Nothing from my end either.
Okay. Well, I do want to give a shout out to the Marine unit, Deputy Harbor Master, then Officer Lee, and I believe Nelson were on a boat. They saved a kayaker, so great job on that. Dragged them in and got them to safety. He apparently, well, Deputy Harbor Master Lee or Justin, you can explain what took place if you'd like.
Sure, I'll explain. The officer that was with me that day was Officer Chris Kasimis. We received a 911 call through dispatch that a gentleman was having trouble getting back in due to wind. We went out and tried to locate him. Took us a while to locate him. He was his kayak started to take on water, and he was separated from the kayak, not wearing a flotation device, but he was clinging to two throwables and a flotation device, and we were able to get him out of the water without incident.
Great job on that, Owen, and the entire Marine unit. I mean, it's you guys are always out there to help us, and you know, nobody may like you pulling them over when they're going too fast on a jet ski in the harbor, but hey, it's all about being safe, and that's what it is. So thanks for the help out there. I appreciate it. Let's see, mooring and harbor safety. John is not here, but the moorings are being utilized. The transient moorings are being utilized. We did have a boater on the new float, and he absolutely loved it. He loved the float. I think he even sent in a review about the dock, the floating dock. So that was it's well worth it. It is limited to length, but it is being utilized. Finance, Chris, do you have anything?
I don't. I didn't do a separate report this month. I'll do that next month and give us an update on the budget.
All right. We're not broke though, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, great. Plans and recommendations, Alan.
Sure, I'll be very brief. I sent around a list of all the commissioners of possible projects the commission could undertake, and just asked for people who'd be interested in helping or things that floated anyone's boat. We should have a list of what we'd like to accomplish going forward in the future, and just to have something to give back to the city of things that are on our minds to tackle. The one person who responded to that was Danielle, who's probably kicking herself for that now. Not really, but with interest in the dredging project, which she's already helped with Amelia, and I think it's great if she's willing to help be a point person and sort of keep track of how things are flowing and coming together on that. And certainly this presentation tonight was really exceptional. You know, it's just what we need to be doing. So I'm very happy to help with that dredging stuff as well, but it's great we can get a couple people who have an interest in that and keep a track of where we are. So thank you, Danielle. And that's my report.
Great. Let's rebuild Grassy. That's what I say. Okay. Used to be one of our favorite islands.
We can dump the sediment from the dredging.
Yeah,
That's what
I mean,
I think that's perfect.
I had no idea that they did that, and it's just an eye opener. Glad you're on the commission. All right, newsletter. We don't have anything for the newsletter, and water quality. We don't have anything for water quality. Amelia, sorry to put you on the spot. Is there any update on water quality? I know that the mayor is thinking about it or may have plans.
Yep, no worries about putting me on the spot. Unfortunately, I do not have any more information. The last I heard, but was when I updated you all, but I will follow with the mayor's office.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to know.
One question I thought was interesting from Michael's report was I think he mentioned clean fill, and we can only use certain types of dredging fill. I'm not too familiar with past dredging samples, but do we know from past dredging what that fill looks like? Is that usually fill that would work to replace the erosion on Grassy Island? Or I thought that was fascinating, by the way.
Well, they would have to take samples for our sediment and see what they have and see if it's hot or dirty or clean, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I know last time they tested the sediment up by Norwalk River Rowing, which is near the top where the barge was stuck. They did determine that it was contaminated and couldn't just be like kind of pushed aside. It had to be like literally hauled away. But he described it as like burying it somewhere else. So I don't know exactly what would happen, but it would need treatment.
Yeah, you can bury it. There is well, yeah, and then he's talking about a different plan to utilize that. So I'll leave that up to the professionals, but yeah. Yeah, it depends on where you are.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
depends on the makeup, like for our foundries, like for I work for a manufacturing company and we sell the sand to like the construction industry, but it would depend on like the sedimentology of what they're actually dredging.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was a lot of information. I'm looking forward to meeting Michael again, and anybody else who can help us out. And time is of the essence, I guess. So we want to, if it's a 5-year rotation or something, then we absolutely need to get going on that. And now that we have a new bridge, well, it's almost there. It's a few years away, but
Yeah, a few years.
it's getting there.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath.
It's getting there. Okay. I just need a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask Amelia one question, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amelia, Bruce here. Did the gas over at Total Marine or Total Marine?
Oh, yes,
get
the one that we
rectified?
were emailing about.
Yes.
I can check on that. I asked the woman's name is escaping me right now, but I told her to let me know in a week if they still haven't received it. I have not heard from her, so I'm assuming they have, but I will check on our end for sure and make sure that
I can reach out to her tomorrow. I was just curious if that was rectified.
Yeah, so everything PO is set up so you can easily, anytime you go there, they'll send me the invoice and then a check will be sent. So I'm assuming
Awesome.
it's all set, but yeah, haven't heard from her and we can check tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Anybody else with any last thoughts?
I just have a little new business item, just to be sure. Do we have an assigned commissioner to the Shellfish Commission? Because that's an obligation we have to.
That's Commissioner Bloom.
Okay.
Kelly, are you still interested in doing that?
Yes, I just haven't been able to go to the last 3 meetings because it's in the summer and I had obligations with my children, but I plan to be back.
Just little things like
what
that.
What are you doing?
When my husband's out on the water, I have to be.
Yeah, what are you doing? Putting family first. Come on.
This is the first meeting since March that I haven't been at a Little League game calling in.
Right.
We're entering hockey season for both my kids, so that will
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
just for just general knowledge, I listened in a couple of Shellfish meetings, and there's a little bit of disgruntlement there, I think, because we haven't been in touch with them. So it's important that we have somebody that attending their meetings.
Yeah, normally I attended.
I was unavailable, and he said no worries.
Yeah,
Almost
normally
if
I
you're-
attended, but I was in the city, so I just couldn't make it.
And again, if you're unavailable or something, I can fill in. I'm retired, so I don't really have a job. So if somebody has trouble, I'd be happy to represent us there. But it's really important that we support those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Work together.
Yep.
All right. So now, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
And second is
Hi,
Chris McDonald. I saw you had your hand going. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Peace.
Hi.
See you.
See you. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.